Hello everyone, this is John for PokerVIP.com, and in this video we are doing part 2 of how to crush the Blaze poker games over on Betvictor. And Blaze, for anybody who's just watching this for the first time, is basically Betvictor's fast fold variants like Zoom or Rush or Speed Poker. Just get tons of hands in super fast. So the special thing about this is they are actually running the Canon promotion, and they basically run this Blazing Canon promotion every time there's a big event on, so like Christmas, Easter, something like Euro 2016, and that's exactly what this one's about. So this one's the football edition, and all the Blazing Canon basically is every time you win 20 hands that have gone post flop, so 20 raked pots, you basically get to shoot a ball at a goal using a cannon. Sounds super dumb, but basically it's just free money, and every time you fire it and you score, you're going to win €1, €10 or €100, and it's totally legit. I know this because a forum member of ours has hit the €100 one. I've hit probably lifetime, because I've made a few of these videos when it was a different Blazing Canon promo. I've probably hit like 4 or 5 €10 ones, and I've probably hit like €21 ones, and I've missed a few times, of course. But you can see here, 16 out of 20, so that means currently I've won 16 hands out of the 20 needed. So we're definitely going to be firing off at least one cannon in this video. Hopefully we can get a couple in. But as always in my videos, it's going to be live play. I'm going to be talking about the hands, you know, as and when they happen. Going to analyse each and every spot and just, yeah, talk poker in general. And when the cannon's ready, we'll fire it off. So make sure you check out part 1. All the rules are there. And this is part 2 of 4. 8-9 suited here on the button, going to be playing this hand. Got something to think about it. Never be tempted to just like fast fold in this spot. You know, we know 8-9 suited is a button open, so don't miss that equity basically. You know, this is correct play. It's part of a range. Don't get impatient. I know that's a big leak in a lot of people's games, is, you know, it's like, oh, I can't be bothered waiting, I'll get another hand. But, you know, remember, we still have to play proper poker here. Seems everyone's tanking for some reason. Jack deuce here, this guy leads pot, and I've got 2 guys behind me, and he's only got €3 left. So I'm actually just going to fold my Jack deuce here, because there's just so many hands that beat me, and obviously just so many turn cards which are not like favourable for our hand. Plus someone behind can go ahead and raise, and I don't want to go ahead and raise ISO to get in versus Dragon. So it's going to be a fold. King 9 on the button. I always min raise my buttons and 3x all other positions. I know some people have started to like 2.5x, 3x. But I think in these fast fold games, min raise works so well because, well, people are fast folding. You know, the small blind's probably folded a bunch at a time. And then we all know, you know, the big blind, you know, it's a blind. People are forced to put the money in without looking. So, you know, just that standard logic of they're probably not going to have that great of a hand. Get let out here with face 7. I'm going to fold. I think I've qualified the ace of diamonds, but I just don't think we're going to win this pot anywhere near enough of the time by calling there. Impulse of the gun here by Crazy Lisa. Not too sure what that means. Obviously get notes on people. You can just edit your notes, pin them as fish, regs, whatever. When HUDs are not usable, then you should definitely be, you know, note-taking a ton. Jack deuce is pretty close to opening the button, but I definitely open the button more than most. So I'm going to hang around for it. 5-7 is not going to be nicer, so we're going to make that an easy fold. 9-10 off to fold as well. Okay, we're now going to fold the Jack deuce. King 4 is definitely a muck, blind versus blind. Ace queen suited, and we're going to open from all positions. Bullets, I recognise that name. I think he was a former staked player, or was he just a blogger? Maybe he was just a blogger. Haven't seen him for a while. Hopefully he comes back onto the forum. Ace queen we raise and take it, so no action at all in this first 2 minutes. Hopefully something will brighten up. Maybe this 7-8 suited. I'm going to just go ahead and defend my button. It's a really playable hand. We're in position. The pot's small. You know, definitely just a ton of reasons there to go ahead and call. 7-8 suited I'm going to float even though we've got... I'm going to fold even though I've got a couple of back doors. 8-9 suited I think is in pretty much everybody's opening range, even really tight players. You know, 9-10 suited plus might be for some people, but I think 8-9's fine. King Jack I peel, even though this guy's only got 240 back. He c-bets. I'm obviously going to have to call here. I'm just thinking, do we call or is it better to just raise, get in versus his stack size? And I think because we have a gut shot and because this guy himself can show up with some just like ace-10 type hands, I'm just going to go ahead and raise, get it in, because I think I can have the best hand a good amount of time here, or I can, you know, have a good bunch of outs. And he does just have the ace-10, which we hold against. Nice. And we do finally win a post-flop pot there. So we're 17 out of 20. 3 more rate or post-flop hands, and we are going to be in the money. Get a defend here with my king deuce suited versus a 2.5x opening the cutoff. Pretty close, but again, I am just quite a prolific big blind defender. I think he's going to barrel this turn a lot, so I think I'm going to go ahead and call twice here. It's pretty close, but you can have lots of jack queens, king jacks, 8-9s, jack 9s, lots of hands like that with equity. But basically, I think he's going to c-bet this flop a lot, and I think he's going to rep this turn a lot because it's obviously better for him than it is for me. This river will be a fold if he bets, because even if his bluffs beat me. Yeah, tried pocket 5s there. Not too sure I love his turn bet. Just turning his hand into a bluff. I can have some 7s which fold there. Pocket 9s here. Gone ahead and opened and been led pot into me on an 8-10-3. I'm going to fold here once this guy calls, but I would have called if it was heads up. But this guy shows a ton of strength, you know, flat calling this with me to act behind. So I'm going to get out of there. Sadly, you can't, like, rail a hand in action. But what you can do is fast fold 6 or 7 hands in the time it would take to watch it. 7-8 suit, I'm just going to go ahead and call here, 3-way. Don't think I need to squeeze or do anything there. Just going to go ahead and see a flop for a really good price with a really playable hand. I'm going to go ahead and fold this flop. We stake on Betvictor, and what I would say is, since this Blaze and Canon promotion has come in, we have had 2 of our biggest winning days of the year. Because all the 3 lads are now playing on there. Ace-5 suited, I've gone ahead and called, and this will definitely be a check call spot. Ace-high is going to be good, and we've just got plenty of backdoors here. The backdoor flush, and obviously if we hit an ace, then that's going to be good a lot of the time. Check, king on the river. I think he might have some hands which beat me, so I'm just going to make a really large bet here, rep a 10 or a king. Or better, could have pocket 6s, something like that. And yeah, we do just take that fold. I just don't know if ace-5 is always going to be winning there, so I'd like to make sure of it. You can have definitely some better ace-highs which would check back that turn just to try and get to showdown. 2 more hands until we go ahead and fire off the cannon. Going to go ahead and min-raise the button with queen 9 and open king queen in the cutoff. Flop a c-bet here. Going to be just a half-pot bet. And take it down. 1 more to go, guys. And you get to see the cannon in action. Hopefully get a €100 one live on video. That'd be nice. Ace-2 suited here. I'm going to opt to go ahead and 3-bet. We can definitely mix up between 3-bet and flatting. Deuces, I called and really received a bad flop. He popped it anyway, but would fold to any size c-bet there. Ace-3, we flop 2 pair. It's going to be good a lot of the time. So just going to go ahead and c-bet for value and protection there. If he check raise that flop, I'd imagine he just has a ton of draws and bluffs. Okay, yeah, we're going to fire it off. You just basically randomly hit it. Our little boot comes out. It's going to kick the ball. Hopefully we get it in the goal. We are indeed. Random alien came in and stole a goalkeeper, and we're going to see what we won here. €1, €10, 100. Sadly, it's just another 1. But that's a euro free money. You know, we're making money on the tables. We're getting our 30% rake back. We're getting the 20% rate back equivalent from the deposit bonus. We're getting the PokerVIP 7-7 rake race. You know, we're just printing money playing these games. Absolutely printing. Only 10 NL runs. 2 NLs running there, actually. So sadly, there's no higher stakes, but if you're a micro stakes grinder, this is perfect for you. Peeled blind versus blind with 5-9 suited. He check call. I'm going to bet the turn, which he might call with ace high again, and then I'll basically just weigh up my options on the river. Going to barrel twice here with the jack 7. Going to get him to basically fold his floats. Yeah, I find we just give up way too often once we get a call on the flop, thinking he's just always got an ace or a 4. But I think he's going to have a wider calling range than that on the flop, so I'm going to go ahead and bet. Pretty good river for us to represent here. You know, if he does have an ace, we're going to get him to fold a lot. So I'm just going to go ahead and bet here as if I have a 5 or better. He might go ahead and raise, but basically we're just never going to win this pot of showdown. He doesn't seem to have that strong of a range unless he was calling on a draw. So we're going to put his ace, ace sevens, ace eights, ace nines under absolute maximum pressure. I think he might raise here once he's tanked this long. Nope, he goes ahead and folds. That's nice. I think that's a spot a lot of people miss as well. He flatted pre, he flatted the flop, he flatted the turn. The river brings like the worst card possible. So let's go ahead and represent it. 8-9 suited I called even though this guy's short. It just that flops really well and we can just get it in on loads of flops versus him. But sadly that was not one of them. Deuce is here, I'm going to fold. Just play this right behind, he's not got enough money for me to win. There's just no implied odds there, so we're going to get out of there. Nice to wake up with a monster. Pocket kings under the gun. Hopefully we get some action here. Nines I'm just going to flat. There's no real intention to raise for value or raise as a bluff, so flatting in position is just always going to be our best option there. Check called a very good flop for us. Not a great turn. He's betting pretty quick, which is maybe nothing at all, but I'm going to go ahead and call again. Interesting this river. I was thinking about bluffing it if he bet because I can rep the 8-9, even though when the draws miss he might be more inclined to call. Once he checks, I don't really like my hand that much because I think he might have caught a 10, but I don't think I'm going to get him to fold those 10s. So I'm basically going to check, assuming that we can have the best hand sometimes, versus ace queen of diamonds, ace jack of diamonds, or he could even have just double barreled an 8 or a 7. Pocket 8s or a 7. So I'm just going to check and hope to win. And yeah, he did just have pocket 8s. Got a really good price on the other table with my queen deuce suited, so I just peeled from the big blind four-way, I think it was. Blind versus blind strategy, I do not have a limping range. I don't limp in any aspect of the game in cash games. I believe a lot of people who are doing it have no reason for it. I think they're doing it a bit randomly. And, I think post-flop they struggle massively when they do it, so unless I'm going to basically put all my effort into developing a perfect range or talking to a coach about it, then I would rather not, and I'd just rather play pretty straightforward. Ace Jack, I mix it up between flat calling pre and 3-betting. I'd probably flat call more than a 3-bet, but versus a cut-off open, we get some value there, and we can definitely just make it so these guys can't automatically just open against our big blind. Ace Jack here, top. Around a 2/3 value bet. And I was going to say we've got the backdoor flush draw there as well. And as you can see, the Canon fuse is just constantly burning off the more hands we win. Remember, it is only post-flop hands. A raked pot. But there's 15 minutes left of this video, so I think we will get to fire off another one. But in the first video I fired off one, and we won €1. And so far it's been the same thing here. I'm going to go ahead and defend with my Jack 10 and check to the opener. I'll definitely be floating this flop because I can just basically have a ton of hands which connect with this board, and I do have 2 overs and a backdoor straight draw. So, I can check raise a ton of turn cards. Can I go ahead and 3-bet my Jack Queen and call my Jack 10. Good turn card for us there to represent. If he bets here, he's repping a really strong hand. There are some dynamics as well because Grocket is a PokerVIP member. But we're just going to play as if he is a random and check raise this turn. And I think my sizing's really good here. And basically, if he calls, I'll just jam every single river. Jack Queen, I see bet. I think 120 into 2 is a really nice size, puts him under a ton of pressure. Grokker's 6, his flatting range should basically be draws, and his raising range should be sort of made hands. If I was him and I had a made hand there, I would just ship it in. Just so many bad rivers, so any sort of 2-pair, any set, quite a lot of over pairs. But he opted to fold, so I'm quite unsure. Maybe I made him fold a big hand there. But again, there are dynamics. He's a staked player, might be thinking, do I fold to this guy? What do I do? Jacks on an ace-high board. I prefer to check in quite a lot of situations to just basically induce and to control the size of the pot. Really bad turn card for us there, so I'm going to check again, and I'll call if he bets just because I think my hand's quite face up, and then river will be a decision. He bets 20, so I might just have like a queen and be trying to get to showdown. Jack of diamonds on the river here. I block the royal flush. I block quite a lot of flushes in general. I think when he bets this size, we can just call. He actually had ace-5. The idea of raising that river is definitely fine, because we can go ahead and rep a flush and a straight, but when we are getting that price with a hand which could be the best hand, then it's definitely fine for us to go ahead and just make the call in that spot. Jack 10 here, I'm going to overbet, basically thinking if he's hit a queen, I don't want him to call. I don't ever expect him to have a king, so we're trying to just make him fold if he hit like a queen, or if he was pot controlling with like a 6, pocket 8, something like that. I just don't feel like a regular size bet will do the job enough. Going to go ahead and make a 4-bet here with the ace-3. We have a blocker, we're in position. That's pretty much all there is to it in that one. I think so many people miss out 4-bets there. Remember as well, yes, I'm on the button, but the dynamics are I've held, I've not fast folded. I've waited to get to the button, so I'm probably going to have a better hand than most people will think, even though I didn't. And we can just basically eyeball him there because we've got an ace in our hand. King Queen suited are going to call a 3-bet out of position. This flop I will check call because we've got 2 overs and a gut shot, but I'd be much happier doing it if there was a diamond here. We had a backdoor flush draw, but check calling is definitely fine. Ace on the turn, and he will barrel quite often, and I think we're just going to have to fold. Jack 10, I bet we get min raised. I'm going to fold. Do not let your ego take over there. There is not enough to win. We're going to be very hard to bluff him with his stack size, so just let it go. Lots of folding here. Deuces I isolate. I think it's better than limping. Folding might not be that far off this either. Going to go ahead with my 4-6 suited in the 3-bet. We can also flat here. We can also fold. Deuces. He's limped raised. That is really interesting. 4-6 here. I'm just going to check back. It's a board which really hits this guy's range. Yeah, so deuces, what's actually happened here? He's just limp raised. I guess we call because the guy behind's going to call a lot. And we'll just go set mining. This guy bets a queen. I think I'm just going to fold here. I think he's going to just basically smash his flop pretty hard. And I don't think I can bluff enough, and I don't think I'm ahead enough, so I'm going to let that one go. Sometimes you got to let it go. Ace-10 there, probably should have opened in mid-position. Deuce is really bad flop for us, going to muck. King, 6-9 suited, min raise on the button. Get called, some basically every backdoor. Gonna go ahead and just do my half pot c-bet. The success rate of these half pot c-bets is just so large. Button versus big blind that it's all I ever need to do. I'm sure you've seen it in my videos over the years. They really do just print me a lot of money. And I'd say, people might be like, oh, you c-bet too often. I would disagree. My stats would disagree. Just it works so well. The success rate is so high. 5-10 suited. It's weird that everyone's tanking so long in these games. It just seems like the game's a lot slower today. But we're trying our best to speed it up. King 10 suited, UTG. And Jack 8 suited. 2 very easy opens here from the positions we're in. Jack 8 suited, we flop second pair. I'm just going to opt to c-bet this. We can definitely, that can be definitely one of those hands we check back. But, we can, yeah, check back's fine, but betting's also fine, because he's going to have some queen 10s, ace 10s, 9 10s. He's going to have some pocket pairs he's going to call us once with. But with the 8 kicker, possibly better to check it back there. Be interested to hear your comments if you think that's a check or a bet. Get that out here. Pot size, he's not got much behind, so we're going to fold, even though there are a great deal of turn cards which help us, like a straight draw, a pair, or a flush draw. But in that spot, I think it's just fine to fold once he pot it. 4-5 suited under the gun is pretty loose, but I do like to show up with it from time to time. Don't mind if someone notes me saying open 4-5 suited under the gun. Flop 2 pair here. Pretty interesting situation. I'm going to start off just by betting. If I get raised, it'll basically just be a call down on a lot of runouts. If I get called, it would be possibly a check back on the turn. Jack, Queen suited, I like to play. King 6 suited here, I'm going to go ahead and squeeze. 5x against 2 opponents is a really good size. We get called and we flop 2 pair. Very dry board, so I'm going to bet really small here. We can do this with our bluffs as well, that's a real perk of it. Jack, Queen suited are going to fold. Queen on the turn, don't love it because he can definitely have King, Queen. But now we're going to start building the pot. Let's think about it. If we bet 3, that means there's going to be 11 in there. And we're going to have 10 back. Sorry, we're going to have 11 back, so that's good. So we can jam the river, but he does just end up snap folding. We're plodding along nicely here. Hopefully get to fire off another cannon. Wish these guys would stop wasting so much time. It's not like we're on a bubble of a tournament, guys. Let's play fast. You know, and this is the temptation of, you know, fast folding too quick. 8-9, basically, we don't defend another gun open, but if a couple people call, then we do defend. Because, you know, it is a playable hand, we'll be getting a good price. True Teller, he's been a reg for a long time. 8-9 here, I think we can try a lead. Nice lead with a gut shot. Ace-9 off, cut off versus mid position, I think is a nice 3-bet spot. We get raised here, which is pretty interesting. Prana's basically just repping like a strong hand, like an overpower or something. I'm going to float and basically start to rep a lot of turn cards. That's an interesting turn card. We don't need to rep it, but we're now in a spot where we have to check call this turn. He can definitely have a flush and we could be drawing dead. We could also just have any 7, 8, 9 or heart to win. So we're going to go ahead and call. We make a flush, pretty interesting. He's going to have lots of aces, kings and queens with a heart in his hand, but he does just go ahead and check there. And we're actually just up against a flop set, so pretty unlucky for him. But I think we played our hand really well there. I don't think we should lead that river or anything like that. A5 suited, I peeled blind versus blind. Just going to go ahead and fold there. I think if I'm calling that to bluff, I'm just going to be bluffing way too often. Couple of folds, King Jack suited now. So yep, this is part 2 of 4. They're all going to be 10 and L. Queen 8, I check my option, going to just check fold the flop. This Ultra Sowski is the one who's taking ages every hand, isn't he? Unbelievable. I'll talk about not being impatient, but you can be impatient with people like that. They are very bad for the games. Especially games like this where people come for like fast-paced action. This promo is only around till July 12th, I believe, something like that. It's only around for a month, so make sure you get the most of it. Maybe it's July 10th. Whenever the Euros finish, I imagine. King 10 in the cut-off, very obvious open. We get a 3-bet here. And a cold call. I'm thinking maybe a 4-bet here looks super strong. Kind of worried that this Nevis Pitton guy just gets it in with whatever he has. But we're going to go ahead and make this play. We've got nice blockers here from Ace, King, Kings, 10s. We get flat called by both, which is really random. We now find ourselves in this horrible spot where we assumed anything we do gets called. And this guy's actually gone ahead and led. So it would have been probably just a check back, but now it's going to be a fold. We could also just jam that flop and be like, whatever, we've got the backdoor spades and we've got overs. Gonna check my 6s here. I think this guy can have a monster a lot of times when he checks. Or he can just have sort of nothingness. I'll be trying to get to showdown with the pair. But I'm happy to just basically check down here. Deuce is going to call a 3-bet, nice and deep. Flop a set. 6 is going to fold. Going to be pretty much a call down situation on this kind of board texture. He checks though, so I'm going to go ahead and bet. I think he's going to have some check raises in his range. But I think his check raises will generally be like the ace-high flush draw. Or maybe like kings with a king-high flush draw, stuff like that. So once he raises, now it's just going to be a, you know, go all-in spot and assume we're up against like aces or kings with a spade. He might show it with some sets, he might show it with some flushes, but I think we're generally going to be ahead here versus a pair and a draw, or just the better nut flush draw. And I don't want to call for it to like pair the board and him to be put off putting his money in with that ace of spades. He's thinking quite hard here, so I guess I've got him crushed. Be nice if you just called off with like ace of hearts, ace of diamonds. But this is absolutely the correct play. He does go ahead and fold there, which is pretty interesting. But there is just no better way to play that hand than to ship. 5 deuce we defend, flop bottom pair, going to be a check fold though, because we just don't really have the back doors we need to continue here. And he's going to hit this flop a good amount or have like lots of gut shots and straight draws. Going to fold and fold. Ace queen's going to be a raise. Going into the last 5 minutes of the video, so maybe we do only get to shoot one cannon. But I'm sure we'll have some luck with it in parts 3 and part 4. I think there's been some really interesting hands here. Some nice check raises, some interesting bluffs, some 4 bets. And this is all just going with natural flow, sorry. And, you know, just going off experience and just, you know, reading the spots and reading the play as well. Just understanding position and understanding the dynamics of fast fold will always keep you in good stead in these games. You know, people might say, oh, you play fancy. I don't think it's fancy at all. I think it's just really good spots, picking them well, and making the correct play. You know, we haven't risked a lot of money to win, basically. 7-8 suited, I'm just going to go ahead and call the button. Flop bottom pair, but we do have like some good backdoor draws, so I will call here. I'd much rather call with this than quite a lot of 10s that we could have. Ace queen we get a 3-bet, I'm just going to call in position. 7-8 he bets again, so I'm going to fold. Ace queen I'm going to go ahead and float. Ace high is going to be good a lot of the time. He might go ahead and slow down turns. I think I just prefer to go ahead and bet this turn, in case he has a hand like ace king or ace queen himself, we can get him to fold. Also, if he does call here, we can just like bet pretty strong on a lot of rivers and get him to fold like those pocket 9s, pocket 10s type hands. But I think generally once he checks that turn so quick, he's going to be check folding. And I'm happy for him to check fold any 2, even if I might have the best hand with ace queen. 8-9 I'm going to defend. King queen I prefer to check call here. Basically I want to induce, and I will just never bet. I will just basically think this guy's short, he's probably going to stab at a pot. He never calls a bet, so I'm just going to go ahead and check and just try and get some money off him, basically. And he actually had queens there. That might be one of the hands we could have got to call. But I didn't expect him to be that strong. 8-9 I check raise flop, he called. Turn's going to be a pretty easy check call. River's interesting. I think I'm going to prefer to check and induce a bluff. Because I don't think he's going to check back a 7 either. But he snap checks back and showed ace-8. So yeah, we did the right thing. And that's not being results orientated, it just kind of felt that way. You know, when he bets that turn, he's really repping like a full house or a 7. Which you can definitely have, but I don't believe it that much. Deuces I call 3-way. Made a couple obvious folds. Deuces we're just going to check and not put any more money in the pot unless we hit a deuce. Take it down with the ace-9 suited in the cutoff. And make some pretty straightforward folds. Again here, like this 9-10, I think once you're in the rhythm, like you folded 3 in a row, it's really tempting to just keep on folding. But, you know, just remain smart. You know, remember ranges, remember, like, blind situations. You know, we've got all lifetime to, like, play loads of hands. Doesn't need to be all in one session. I'm just going to mark Rocker. Just that I know him and he's a good player. King Queen, we take it down. Lots of pre-flop pots won. I think you've probably noticed that throughout this video. Like, so many of my button opens, my cutoff opens get through. Like, it's just incredible how quick people fold and forget to basically play good poker. Going to be wrapping the video up shortly. 6-10 suited, I think it's a good button open. Good suited gap connector. Another tank here. I'm going to sit out. It's the same guy on 2 tables. It's not the software crashing. We'll defend this for a min raise, even though it's versus mid position. I think we should go ahead and bet once we have nothing. And I'll be betting the river here because I think he's capped to like queens. That's like the best hand he can show it with. I think we can get that to fall on a bunch of run-outs. But anyway, that was part 2 of how to crush Blaze Poker over on Betvictor, and it's the Blazing Canon Football Edition. Please leave some comments, please leave a review. Lots of interesting hands to talk about there. And make sure you get signed up. 30% rake back, huge deposit bonus which clears at 20% rake back. Our top 77k, top 777 rake race, Betvictor private rake races, and of course this Canon promotion. So you can really add like 4 or 5 BB100 onto like a PokerStars Zoom win rate, in my opinion. Maybe even more than that. You could definitely get into double figures here. So anyway, good look at the tables, and this was John for PokerVIP.com.